Yo, what is up you guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. In today's video, we're going to be looking at every Honda Civic generation. So, buckle up because we're going to rank every single generation of the Honda Civic from S all the way down to D. And yes, we're going to consider everything from the economy spec models to the track happy Type Rs. If a generation brought the heat, it's going to get respect, and if it flopped, well, it's getting parked in D tier. Before we jump into the video, I want to say this is all fun and games, so don't get offended. This is my list, so if you want to give your opinion, let me know down in the comments below. If your favorite Civic generation placed low, just know that Honda could have given you something better. I don't make the rules, I just rank them. So with that being said, let's get to the video. This is where it all started. Honda said, what if we made a car that doesn't break the bank and is great on gas? And boom, the legendary Civic was born. It was light, efficient, and in the middle of an oil crisis, this thing was basically a cheat code for Honda. The first generation Civic really put Honda on the auto world map. This greatly boosted them where they needed to be in order to compete with big dogs like Toyota. But let's be real for a second. On today's roads, it would be as safe as a shopping cart. In the grand scheme of things, the first gen Honda Civic didn't bring a whole lot to the table, but we can't ignore the fact that without this generation, we probably wouldn't have Civics today, or let alone Hondas. Solid B tier for being the OG. The second generation Civic. A very solid commuter and one of the most overlooked generations because not much changed here except Honda refined the looks of this generation. It still had that tin can feel but with a slightly better interior. Honestly, it's just the first gen with extra legroom and more plastic. Honda did expand on the trim levels, offering different engine options and body styles like the 5-door hatchback, but it's kind of boring and this generation is staying in C tier. The first few generations of Civic are mostly overlooked, but the third gen really turns things up, and it is criminally underrated. This gen really said pay me and brought us the SI model, aka sport injected, aka fuel injected. This made the car feel more responsive, which meant you could actually have some fun in a Civic. Plus, Honda debuted the infamous CRX, which was like a Civic that didn't skip leg day. It handled great, it was lightweight, and it started Honda's long-term mission of making economy cars cool. B tier, easy. Now we're talking. You want a Civic that can out-handle cars twice its price? I'll give you a freaking 4th gen Civic. This thing has double wishbone suspension, which is insane for an economy car. 4th gen had trim levels like the Civic Wagon and the SIR, which had the famous V16A, Honda's first VTEC engine, and sadly not sold in the US. Honda went all in and expanded on the CRX platform and refined it to the max. The 4th gen was the first time Honda put a VTEC engine in a Civic. This was the start of the VTEC just kicked in yo joke, and the rest is history. Easily an A tier car. The 5th gen is peak 90s Honda. This is one of my favorite Civic generations and is the car that started it all for me. The 5th gen brought the EG hatchback, one of the most influential popular tunable Civics ever, and the SI and SIR models are absolute legends. To this day, they are still icons. 5th gens are light, sleek, handle amazing, and gave birth to many car enthusiasts like myself. Not to be biased, but the 5th gen is S tier, no debate. Ah yes, the EK Civic, aka the Civic at 3 AM starter pack.
VTEC! Turbo! Hey! Shit! Hey! 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 Flexing!
All jokes aside, the 6th gen gave us the Civic Type R. In Japan at least. But the SI Coupe in the US was an absolute weapon for its time. It's hard to come by 6th gen SIs nowadays, but when you do, it's always really nice to see one. And if you have a base model EK Civic, they're still really solid cars. Especially if you tighten up the suspension, they're super fun to drive. The only reason it's not above the 5th gen Civic is because they only made the SI for 2 years and they didn't offer the Type R in the US. So I'm gonna hold that against the 6th gen, but regardless, this gen is an easy S tier. This is where things start getting a little questionable. The double wishbone suspension, gone. Honda had their first try with hybrid Civics with this generation. The SI hatchback, cool in theory, but looks a little funky to some people. The engines offered for most trims were solid, especially with the introduction of the K-Series motor. The saving grace for this generation is the EP3 Type R in Europe and Japan, also not offered in the US. This generation could have been a B tier, but the base models and the Type R exclusion from the US market really bring it down to a C tier. The 8th gen Civic, you either love it or hate it. The FA5 SI Sedan and FG2 SI Coupe are absolute gems. Honda gave them a K20 Z3 that revved to the moon, and most people consider the 8th gen the last true Civic. The hatchback Type R, not as great, but still decent. Most people, including myself, prefer the sedan Type R. If you got a base model though, they are very well-rounded, solid cars, and Honda really started to push their hybrid models with this generation. But because of the SI models alone, this gen stays at A tier. The 9th gen, this is where Honda hit a speed bump. The 2012 Civic was so bad that Honda had to refresh it the very next year. The pre-facelift Civic was okay. After the refresh, it was a very nice looking car, but they nerfed the rev limit and the base model felt alright. I think this world has enough 9th gen haters, and we need to start appreciating this generation a little bit more. What really holds back the 9th gen is the Type R department, and like always, the US never got it, but the rest of the world got one of the coolest Civic Type Rs, but only for 2 years before its life was cut short. The 9th gen is a solid B tier for me. Honda came back swinging with this one. Turbocharged Civics became the norm. The SI was different but solid. And the FK8 Type R, finally in the USA. Oh, and it's the best performing Civic ever made at the time. The 10th gen kinda looks like a Gundam, even the base models. Some think the styling is a bit much, but I think it looks cool. I've gotta say that the 10th and 11th gen Type Rs are one of my obtainable dream cars. And the 10th gen shreds. A tier for sure. And finally, we have the current generation, the 11th gen. The current Type R, the FL5, is an absolute beast, arguably even better than the FK8. The SI is a little watered down, but overall, this Civic generation is matured and went from being a party animal to a responsible person with a mortgage. It's a great car, but not quite as iconic as the 10th gen, but I personally prefer this generation over the previous one, so I'm going to put it higher up on the A tier. I'm just going to rearrange the tier list to make sure everything's accurate. I think that no Honda Civic should be an F or D tier, because across all generations, the Civic has constantly been reliable, efficient, and innovative. Even the worst generation still has redeeming qualities that keep them from being absolute failures. And there you have it, every Civic generation ranked. If you drive an S tier Civic, congrats, you're winning at life. But if you drive a C tier Civic, I'm sorry, better luck next time. Drop a comment down below if you agree or disagree, or if you just want to argue for no reason, be sure to voice your opinions down below. But that pretty much concludes today's video. Thank you for sticking to the very end, and if you guys did find that video entertaining, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.